We glue our top on, we're just having to think about our control cavities and our switch and stuff like that. And so we've just realised that because we're going to be wiring the switch through the body, there won't be a back plate for the switch, that we just need a small extra bit of clearance behind it, just so we'll be able to turn it properly so it can sit up into where it's going to be mounted. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill down a little bit more in this area, just to give it a little bit more clearance. It doesn't have to be too clean or anything like that, it won't be seen. And even with our F-hole up here, you won't be able to actually see it. So we're just going to drill down a few more millimeters just to give us some more clearance there. And we've just been checking as well for our control cavity here that we're going to be cutting out. And we should just have still a small lip just here and here that we'll be able to actually put the plate on. And there'll be space to mount screws as well. So what we're going to do is we'll drill down here, as we said, just to give us some more clearance, and then we're going to cut out from the other side this control cavity. So this is the back of our instrument, and just to show you, this is actually what we're going to be doing with the control cavity. We'll be routing out this area, going completely through the body, leaving a nice hole, and then we'll be taking this part out. And then we'll be routing down just a few mil or so, and that'll leave us a nice shelf all the way around that we can put our control plate on, which we'll make from another piece of sapele. So that's our 4 holes drilled, and that's the bulk of the material gone. We're just going to come back with a little saw and cut these areas to take out that middle part. That's what we're like on the inside. And then, as we said, then we'll fit our router template and make sure we're going exactly to the inside line. And then we'll route our little shelf then as well for the back plate. So we've done our first pass with the router here, and you can see we've created this little shelf here now all the way around. And with that little shelf here, the bearing of the router cutter can now ride around on the inside of that and take away the rest of the material, so we don't need the template in place. So we'll do that now, take away the rest of the material, and we'll move on then. So that's the internal piece of the cavity completely routed out. And so our next part we're going to do is we'll just reattach our template. And then we'll be routing out this area here, and we'll only be going down a very small amount, only a couple of millimeters, and that'll just be for our back plate to sit into. So we've just done a second pass with the router there, and we've just created this little shelf here for our back plate to sit into. So that's what we'll do next, is we'll make our back plate. So off camera we've just made our back plate here. It's just the same size as a standard Les Paul back plate. We've just cut in a little thumb hole here just for getting access to it. So that's pretty much that done, and we're going to drill in some holes for some screws to hold that in place. But other than that, that's the back plate all done, and then we'll move on to our next process. Okay, so we're going to move on now to gluing our spruce top on, and we're going to do it in 2 halves. So we're going to do this side first, and so we've got it lined up. We've trimmed off a little bit more on the bandsaw just to take things a little bit closer. So we're going to be spreading glue on both sides around the area where it's going to connect, and we're going to do our best with the glue because of the F-hole, and you can see inside we don't want to be able to see any glue runs or, you know, blobs of glue and stuff like that. And we've also cut out 2 cowls that we're going to be using. So one will go on the back, like so, and one on the top, and that will just help us spread out the pressure a little bit of the clamps, and also avoid us damaging the top or back by any of the marks from the clamps and stuff like that. So we'll press on. We can leave our back piece in place, so we can just use our guide here, and we can see these are the areas where there's going to be contact, and the same on this side. So as I said, we'll put our glue on and we'll do our best to try and make sure we don't get any runoff on the inside. However, when we squeeze it down, there will be squeeze out pushed onto the inside, but we'll do our best to try and keep it to a minimum. So as we said, we'll just start to get our glue on here and we'll press ahead. And so we're just moving the piece around a little bit. It creates a kind of a bond between the two glue surfaces and kind of squeezes them together a little bit. And we're just using our center line here as a guide to make sure we're as accurate as we can be. So that's our first half in clamps at the moment, and we've just gone around the edges and cleaned out any little glue squeeze out that might have been coming over the sides. So we'll leave that overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do the other half, and then we'll get ready to trim it all up nice and flush. So it's been a couple of days since we've clamped this up, so we're going to take all the clamps off now and get ready to glue up the other side. So just taking off our clamping cauls here. So the back one came away easy enough, and it seems the front one is a little bit stuck. So we'll just take this off nice and gentle. Just seems to be stuck along the glue line at the back here, so nothing too dangerous, and it's coming away. So that seems to have glued on nice and solid. With no gaps or anything like that. So we'll get ready now. We'll just trim off some of this area here, and we'll open up where our pickup cavities are going to be, and we'll get ready to glue on our other half. So we're going to glue on our other half now, just like we did with the other side. And we've removed some material here, as we said, and this will just make it easier when we go to reroute our pickup pockets, so that we already have the hole there to begin with, and we're not trying to drill in blind or trying to find a start for it. And it'll also allow us to get in if there's any squeeze out underneath here. And so we're just exactly like the same as the last one. We've got some clamping cauls, we've got all our clamps ready to go and our glue, and we haven't got a perfectly book match seam here, but we don't need one. As we said, there's going to be another veneer going over the top of this, so this won't be seen. So just like the last one, we'll just glue up, add glue to both sides, and just get it all nicely in place, and then clamp it all down. So that's our second half all glued up now. So again, we'll leave this overnight and come back to it tomorrow. So just like we did with the other half, we're just going to take all our clamps off now, and we'll just take a look then at how we got on. So that's our second half, all the clamps off on that, and that's glued down nicely. So similar to the other side, we'll start trimming away some of the material here to make things a little bit easier for when we go back in with the router, and we'll start to trim off some of this as well and start to get the body shaped. As we've said, not an absolutely perfect glue joint down the centre here, but as we said again, that's not important, because we will be putting the Bubinga veneer over the top of this. So that's our top done. So as we said, our next process will be cleaning all this up. So we've just gone around the edge with a carving knife, and we've just taken off any of the little stray bits that were hanging over the edge, and we've opened up our pickup pockets here a little bit, as well as our neck pocket, just to make things a little bit easier for the router to do when we're clearing things up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drill our control holes and their switch hole up there, and then we're going to get ready to put our top veneer on. So that's our holes drilled now for our controls and for our selector switch. So next what we're going to do is going to continue on the top, and we're going to put back on our pickup cavity template, and we're going to route those out again just to get those perfect, and again we'll just smooth out around where the neck pocket is going to be as well, and we'll get that done, and then we'll start to think about putting our veneer on top. So that's our pickup pockets routed out now. So we'll just do a little bit more cleanup on that, and we'll get ready to add our veneer.